In this video, I'll explain how I used the 6 points outlined in this article to create drills and movement patterns that would simultaneously act as a warm-up, as well as begin the repetition process for the day's situational drills. When designing drills using progressive repetition, the goal is to build movement routines that will gradually build up to a specific skill set in a short period of time. Our skill set for the day was to work on hand placement, as well as depth management and stance height on shots from the hash marks. Drill 1 was a crease movement pattern in which Ellis lines up on the angle with the hash marks on the side wall, feet off the post. Movement 1 was a T-push from the far side wall hash marks out to the blue line angle. Movement 2 was a T-push to the opposite blue line angle. Movement 3 was shuffles from the blue line angle toward the center of the ice, and Movement 4 was a T-push to the opposite hash marks in the slot. Drill 1 encompassed all but one of the 6 points from this article. The only point not used was warm-up shots. Since this was the first drill, its established focus was warm-up movements, so there were no pucks involved. Points 3 through 6, however, are clearly accomplished. This pattern was created to simulate how a puck might get to the hash marks during a game, and some form of this movement pattern was then used in every drill to follow.
Good. Eyes on each point. Switch sides. Loop, loop, shuffle, pass. Good. Loop, loop, shuffle, pass. Loop, loop, shuffle, pass. Take rest.
Drill 2 was warm-up shots. In this drill, Ellis performs the last leg of the previous crease movement pattern and then sets up for a stationary shot from the hash marks. Ellis lines up on the blue line angle at the top of the crease. Movement 1 was shuffles toward the center of the ice, and Movement 2 was a T-push to the opposite hash mark in the slot. Movement 3 was simply a stationary low save. Drill 2 encompassed all 6 points from the article. The established focus for this drill was warm-up shots, so the movement routine was shortened to the last leg of our previous movement pattern in order to save the goalie's legs, providing them with progression and repetition while still warming them up. As you can see, the shots are on the ice to continue a simplified warm-up process, and they are coming from the desired angle for the day's situational shot location. Drill 3 was our first situational drill. It was yet another similar traveling variation of Drill 1. In this drill, Ellis starts on the blue line angle at the top of the crease. Movement 1 was a T-push to the opposite blue line angle. Movement 2 was shuffles from the blue line angle toward the center of the ice. Movement 3 was a T-push to the far dot angle where a shooter was waiting with the puck. And Movement 4 was the use of shuffles to follow the shooter toward the center of the ice. Movement 5 was simply a save on a shot from the hash mark angle. Drill 3 encompassed all 6 points from the article. The established focus for this drill was situational, so there is a bit more movement before the shot is taken, and the shooter is no longer stationary. Since this was our first situational drill of the day, shots were live, and the shooter was on the move. The simulated passes angle change was wider and longer to increase progression, and angle management, hand, chest, and foot placement, as well as shot preparation, all became addressable development points. The entire day's focus was centered around situational shots from the hash marks. The initial crease movement was designed to simulate how a puck might get to that area during a game. In our case, my mind simulated the puck starting on the half wall near the far hash marks. It was then passed up to the point where the D-man passes it to his partner on the opposite point, which would then shift the D-zone coverage. That D-man then walks the blue line toward the center of the ice, where he hits a teammate near the opposite dot or hash mark when the seams open up. Now we have the puck near the opposite hash, and our game situation has been successfully simulated with our development points of a high-low cross-ice pass and an eventual shot near the center ice hash marks. That movement pattern was then progressively changed for drills 2 and 3, which forced Ellis into repetition of specific movements without boring him with a single drill or pattern. Shot location and landing areas were then varied to more realistically simulate unpredictable change. For the day, similar, more complicated situational drills followed these, but as you can see, in roughly 10 minutes, Ellis was able to warm himself up through crease movement as well as straight, stationary shots, but at the same time he received roughly 30 reps of a relevant movement pattern that worked on landing at the day's situational location. He also received max reps, which addressed high-low cross-ice passes without having to do any extra work. By the time we began the situational drills within our focus area for the day, Dan was warm and he was confident and comfortable with all of the angle changes, depths, and landing areas that a goalie might actually navigate if the puck were to enter this area of the ice during a game. This allowed him to focus on save mechanics during the situational drills, and that was my goal when planning.